You care about Daniel Cormier because he's the UFC heavyweight champion, UFC's #1 pound-for-pound fighter, the 2018 Fighter of the Year, and graciously making some time for us. Now, DC, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so the entire fighting world wants to know who is going to be stepping into that octagon against you. It's Jon Jones, right? You can break the news here. Jon Jones next?
No, Jones is fighting March 2nd. March 2nd was my target date, but I had an injury that I had to really take care of at the end of the year. So that's going to have to be pushed. So it looks like I'm going to have to fight past my birthday, which is very unfortunate, but I do want to compete again. So hopefully I'll be fighting sometime in April or May.
All right, I know that you had said that. I think, in fact, you and I, the last time we talked, you had brought up that memory serves March 20th, the big 4-0. You're going to go past that, perhaps stretching the deadline?
Much.
Could it lead to more than one fight after 40?
You know, man, I'm looking at one fight at a time. You know, right now I'm just looking at the fight, and, you know, if it's my retirement fight, it's my retirement fight. You know, I just know that I want to fight and compete at least one more time, and then I would feel secure in being done. As I've said time and time again, I just hate that I got hurt, which didn't allow me to fight March 2nd. If I could have got to fight March 2nd, I probably would have still been done. But I need to see what happens after this fight, and again, if I walk away, I'm happy. It would take a lot to make me keep competing.
Heavyweights can fight longer than a lot of other guys, and every guy, their body is different, how they're feeling is different, how training feels is different. For you, how did the injury come about, and just how are you feeling as you get near that 40th birthday?
I feel better now. You know, I mean, the injury came about from that sneeze with my back. You know, that sneeze that I had on the day of the fight in November, it was much worse than I thought. So I had to just do a lot of rehab on my back and everything, which kind of kept me out of commission. So I'm just kind of hoping that I start to feel better and get back to training as I like to. You know, my biggest thing is I haven't been able to. I can compete. I can still compete at the highest level. I just want to be able to train as I've been training my entire career. I don't want to cut any corners and give these guys a chance to beat me.
You know, a lot of these guys, you said it, multiple guys want a shot at you. Jon Jones on Twitter, you and he went back and forth. Stipe has made it very, very clear he wants another shot. If it's your call, if it's Daniel Cormier making the call, and there is just one fight, if it turns out there's one more fight, who do you think it should be against?
You know, after July 26th, we all thought my next fight would be Brock Lesnar, and I'm still hopeful that'll happen. But I haven't heard anything, so if it's not going to be him, then I'll fight Stipe. You know, I think the guy deserves the title shot rematch. I've always said that, and I want to stay true to my word. If it wasn't Brock, it was going to be him. I'd fight Stipe Miocic again. It's crazy, though, that him and I fought so long ago, and it's almost like he's the champion, and I'm rebuilding to a rematch. I've competed again. He's just sat on the sideline. I mean, that is some truly crazy stuff. You know, he feels very entitled that he's willing to just sit there and wait as I've already competed. It's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable that he's carrying himself in this way.
You know, it sounds like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like a trilogy fight, another fight against Jon Jones, is not part of your plans short-term, long-term. Is that an accurate read of what we're hearing?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be. You know, I don't need to look back to Jon Jones. You know, I don't have to go and chase anybody. My career is not defined by any one man, any one person. You know, for a long time, a lot of what I did was tied to him, but I've separated myself. So I'd be happy or comfortable if we never fought again, but I'd be happy to compete against him one more time.
If you did that, and I think it was on Twitter where he said, come get your belt back, intimating that maybe he wants you to come down a level, where would you want to fight at? At what weight would you want to fight?
205 pounds. Yeah, I would go back down to fight him because that's where he beat me at. You know, there's no reason for me to bring him up to heavyweight. You know, we competed at 205. I fought at 205 for a long time and been very successful against everyone else but him. So I would go back down and fight him again if that's what I would if we were fighting, for sure.
I've heard you say before. I think you and I have had this conversation that when somebody gets a head start, referring to Jon, it's hard to beat him in a race, and the combination of that, and obviously it's not a secret, he's let people down before. I've been at some of those fights where he expected to come out and it didn't happen. Is there a part of you that thinks he doesn't deserve the opportunity to fight in a big fight, and certainly for you to lend your brand and your championship to his opportunity?
Yeah, we're business partners when we go into these fights, and I've had a business partner for a long time that has let me down. So if I was to fight him again, it would be me doing him a favor. I don't need him anymore. I'm a guy that separated myself from that situation. I'm the guy that's done everything right. So it would be me giving him the privilege of fighting again, regardless of how the first two fights went.
I love it. So, and I want to circle back to this, and independent of your injury, how has your training and your approach changed the last few years, still successful, as opposed to when you were 10 years younger, when you were a younger dude?
It hasn't, and that's why I put a lot of mileage on my body. I don't change my training. I have to train a certain way in order to be successful. You don't change what's worked. And to win at the clip that I've won at, it would be insane for me to say I need to do something different now. So I train just as hard as I did when I was younger. So maybe that's why I'm injuring myself, because my body's older, but my mind's still telling me to go harder, harder, harder. When I say that embrace the grind, this is not just a saying. It's something that I truly live for when I'm trying to prepare for a competition.
The price that you pay for greatness and for having a belt is everybody wants a piece of the champ. And I had Max Holloway on the show before he beat Brian Ortega, and even then Max had a message. He wanted you next if he got it done. Do you have a message back to Max?
I love Max. The blessed era needs to stay down at 145, though. You don't want to come with the big dogs. Well, we truly eating up here. Maxie, baby, we eating up in the heavyweight division. You need to stay down with the featherweights, man. Don't come up here, Max. Stop calling me out, boy. He's called me out twice now. That's my guy, Max. Max is my guy, but he's called me out 2 times. Enough, Max. We really eating up here. We eating with the heavyweights.
You both have more toughness in your pinky fingers than I in my entire body. But having met both of you, I can speak to this. You're a much bigger man than he is.
Yes, I am. Max, he's actually taller than me, which is crazy. He came to the Ultimate Fighter for a week when I was coaching against Stipe. He's one of my good buddies, man. We talk a lot. He's a fantastic young man. Just a really, really good spirit to be around. But yeah, he's a featherweight, or maybe a lightweight. Maybe if we're really pushing it, he's a lightweight. I take 2 lightweights now. I eat them for dinner.
I think your answer is the answer of friendship. All right, last one before we let you go. UFC Fight Night 143 is this weekend. Who do you like at the top of that card?
It's a fantastic fight. Cejudo versus Dillashaw is just tremendous. Henry Cejudo is trying to lay claim to 2 of the biggest victory in the UFC's history after beating Demetrius Johnson, beating TJ Dillashaw, who may just be the greatest bantamweight champ of all time. He does that. Henry Cejudo has a case already as one of the greatest martial artists of all time. And then for TJ Dillashaw, it's an opportunity to become a 2-division champion and only strengthen a resume that is second to none. If Dominic Cruz has always been considered the greatest bantamweight of all time and he's number 1, TJ Dillashaw is number 1 right alongside of him. There's no more 1 and 1A. It's 1 and 1 between TJ and Dominic based on accomplishments. So if TJ is to become the UFC's flyweight champion too, after being the bantamweight champion on 2 occasions, you can't question that Hall of Fame resume. This is a phenomenal fight that I really cannot wait to be K-side for.
Daniel Cormier, it was an absolute pleasure. You know your own business. Just as a fan, I would love if we can see you fighting a lot longer than April. I hope a year from now we're still talking about your ongoing career. Appreciate you, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Wishful thinking, though. Good job.